Hello, and welcome to Retro Rank Rhapsody. This episode, The Birth of a Brand. We've made it 100 episodes so far, and it just so happens today to be April 20th. So you'd figure, normally, especially what I did during Rank of Schmuffs, we'd be taking a look at some fun, totally weed-related games. But we have a special occasion today. Especially special to me. Because today marks the 30th anniversary of the release of the original Adventures of Lolo on the NES. So, why not I can't pass up this opportunity, and especially it's episode 100, so why don't we go ahead and take a look at the game that I took my namesake from. That is, the original Adventures of Lolo on the NES. But we have a little bit of history to go through in order to get there. But that shouldn't take too terribly long, so let's just go ahead and start. Okay. So, yes, Adventures of Lolo. It turns 30 today. Particularly the original US release of the game. But there isn't a game in the series that we have not taken a look at that leads up to this. In fact, it's kind of practically the Japanese version of this, because the game that released in Japan as Adventure of Lolo is not the game we're going to be taking a look at today. That is actually based on what we would refer to as Adventure of Lolo 2. Sorry about that. But we do have they did have a game that is very similar. And I'm going to load it up right now. And it does involve going back to the Famicom Disk System. And this is, I'm going to have to get the name actually up because it's kind of a harder name to see or pronounce. And I'm probably not too, I'm sorry, it's, this cough is not going away. I'm going to try and mute myself a little bit better. But this game is Eggerland Sozue no Tabadachi, which translates roughly into Departure of Creation. And what this game is that the last game that we took a look at, Meikyu no Fukatsu, or Revival of the Labyrinth, was basically, it was a game that was much akin to the original Eggerland. It was a giant labyrinth that it was, I want to say it's 8 by 16, that's connected, and all the rooms are connected. But they decided not to do that with this one. They decided to go back to... yes, they are in fact the level 2 boss from Kirby's Dream Land. This is Lolo and Lala, not Lolo and La La La. So, what they decided to do with this one is actually... Departure to Creation could have multiple meanings because... not only does it mark the return of the construction mode from the original Eggerland mystery, it's also kind of a setback, well not setback, a throwback to the original kind of style of game from Eggerland Mystery. I'll load it up real quick. We're not going to be taking a whole lot of this because a lot of the puzzles that are in this game actually are shared in Adventure of Lolo, but not all of them. So, it's the same. It's practically the same game, except, all you're doing is just trying to clear the room. You don't have to, you're not trying to go from level to level. You're not trying to do anything, trying to navigate a maze. It's just beat each level one after the other. And yeah. Starts out pretty simple. I think Meikyu no Fukatsu was incredibly difficult. Like, it was basically an expert-only version of the game. But this actually seems to be much more suited for pretty much anyone. And I'm pretty sure, I think there are a few levels from Eggerland Mystery in here. Don't think anything from Eggerland, I think it's just Eggerland Mystery, but that game only came out on the, MSX, so it makes sense for them to put it in a new game. Alright. Also some fun things about this game. This game was did not have a package release. This game was exclusive to the disc writer. If you're familiar with how the Famicom disk system worked, there was basically a vending machine that Nintendo made that would, you would put a Famicom disc in, and you could get new games from it. I think it was a 500 yen charge, and you got a new game. This was one of those games that only you could get through that packaging, or through that method. And yeah, I'm kind of speeding through these because we've taken a look at a few other Eggerland games on here, so if anyone is confused on how the mechanics of this game work, please let me know, and I can happily explain it to you. Also, thank you for the congratulations. And yeah, there are 50 levels in this game. Also a thing in relation to Meikyu no Fukatsu. I believe this came out like a week later after Meikyu no Fukatsu. I want to say that Rival Labyrinth came out April 14th, 1988, and this came out April 20th. Right? No, that's something else. Or April 21st, I think? This one is actually, I know for a fact, this is stage 2 from Eggerland Mystery. Okay. Yes, I have played, that, oh, actually, I shouldn't do that. Yes, I did. They kind of didn't do that in this one, because I think they just wanted to make, they kind of went back on their methodology for how they wanted to do a little bit of non-linearity, because I think they kind of realized that while the Labyrinth concept is kind of cool, it's not exactly easy to, execute that well. And it actually, if you think about it, since that means that every puzzle has to start on the edge of the screen, if you do it like this, you can start anywhere in the room. Which gives you a lot more flexibility in terms of puzzle development. Yeah, and also, I'll get to that, actually, I'll save that thought for when I get to Adventure Lolo. So yeah, it's a very basic version of this game. Which is not a terrible thing. Because sometimes you just want to solve some puzzles. Oop, but I screwed that up. Okay, well, since we're going to see a lot of these puzzles, I think that is probably a good enough view of the basic mode. But there is one more mode in here that we should probably take a look at. The one that's more interesting. That is the construction mode. Okay. So construction mode, which I think is kind of the main draw of this version, really. You have, I think they give you... Oh, looks at... Oh! Huh. Right. Yes, this isn't a level editor. So, the fun thing about these is that this is actually all ones that I've made. I did not realize that I had this save. What you are actually seeing right here is remnants of a failed LP project that I was going to do of this series. They kind of never went to fruition once I realized that I don't like doing Let's Plays. And these were going to be some tutorial rooms. So let's just take a look at some interesting one. Alright, that one. To this one. Because, yeah, just to kind of show off. They don't really give you a lot of chances to show this off, but you can actually use Dom Medusas to block Medusas. I gotta time this just right. There. Because if you're offline, or just to kind of explain how this works, if you're just a little bit off of a Dom Medusa, and you're so it won't kill you, it technically acts as a blocking thing, so you can block Medusas. Yes. So yeah, that's just something, they don't really give you, oh, also another thing to show off, since it rarely will come up, is that Dom Medusa's touch is actually fatal. But there's not really any way you would actually see that. So let's actually try and toy around with this a little bit. So I think you hit select, yep. So you can even do, they even give you the little warp trick with the blocks. So that trick that you would do if you pushed a block over an enemy that has yet to spawn and it would go to a different area, you can actually make your own versions of these. If you're crazy enough. So I want to test something that Bag of Magic Food actually pointed me out some fun things that I want to try. And yeah, every room has to have a Lolo, and every room has to have a treasure chest. So let's try and put this here. Now, if I do this, supposedly, if you put a bunch of enemies... Oop. Let's try this again. Also, let's see how the NES can even handle this. I mean, and it also doesn't prevent you from making, like, an impossible to beat level. Like, granted, that would be really hard to do. Suppose if you put enough, enemies, Emerald Framers will become, you can walk through them. Also, this is going to be a nightmare. Okay, let's see how this works. That's interesting. Huh. Okay. Yeah. Also, let's try with this. Something that's not moving. Okay, so if I ended up there. Yeah, it just completely bugs out. Wait, how fast do you move? So I'm just hitting down twice. 3 times. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so what if we did something that I can actually do something about? I was hitting select, because if you hit select, that is basically your failsafe in case you really screw up a puzzle. Wait, what? I wonder if there's a max number of hearts you get. I want to test something then. I wonder if it's just the enemies or if it's just straight up the number of things that spawned. No, it seems like it was just the amount of enemies in the room that was just causing the thing to completely have a conniption fit. Oop. Oh, yep. And yeah, that's the thing. Apparently if you, so what I'm guessing, is happening is that, there's integer overflow happening, and the thing does not happen, or it's not like, so what it now means is that I just have infinite shots. Okay, let's try something else. Also another fun thing that this lets you do is kind of take a look at priority of what will kill you. So what happens if, say, do this? This. The way they're going is not going to affect anything, but I just felt like this is more fitting. So let's see what happens here. Oh, also one other thing you can do is you have up to 4 music tracks you can actually do. This is the music from Revival of the Labyrinth. So, that. So, let's see what happens the moment I hit a button. Okay, does it? Okay, so it's always going to be the top one that will kill me. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so it looks like it will always be... So I guess it's going up, left. Is going to go counterclockwise. Nope. So what I bet you it's doing, I bet you it's going in a pattern of... Because I think this is how the overscan work, where it's basically it's going from top from top right to or top, I guess top going right, going down, going to left, and whichever one I think it hits first. Yeah, top to bottom, left to right is what it seems like it's doing. Let's see what other ones I have in here. Yeah, just to show off what that one thing did. Actually, let me do a different piece of music. Actually, I don't think we heard this much. I did Revival Labyrinth. So... Also, since I don't think I've actually shown it off yet, lava is a separate thing from water. And that you can place ladders over it, but they will burn up eventually. There we go. So yeah, that is Eggerland Departure of the Creation. It's a lot more basic than the previous kind of entries, but yeah, it's not bad. It is still a pretty decent game. Um, so yeah, uh, yeah. That's pretty much all I can say about it. I wish that more of the Adventure Lolo games had a creation system, but they don't. Although there are definitely utilities or fan-made utilities that will help you do that. So yeah. So with that, let me pull this up. Oh. Okay. So, Eggerland Departure to Creation. Uh, the the creation element of it really helps it, and I think that's actually kind of the thing that sells it. Because other than that, it's basically, I would say it's better than Eggerland Mystery. I would not say it's better than the original Eggerland, just on the puzzles alone. In fact, they're really kind of basic. But, in terms of what I would put it over, hello, Elsie. I have done ActRaiser. It is actually on our, I think it's on our adventure list. Yes, ActRaiser. It's right here. So let's see. Oop, and we're on the mine list. So, let's see. I were to place it, and I know I don't want to. I know this is practically my brand, so I want to be a little bit fair. Although, I'm kind of hesitant to put it over the original Eggerland. Although the original Eggerland's incredibly buggy, which kind of hurts it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get to ActRaiser 2 at one point, and that is not gonna be a fun day. But I kind of, what I'm actually thinking, and here's my reasoning for this. I'm thinking in between Mendel Palace and Fozon. The puzzles in this are very basic, but the character or the level creation is so good that I think that it definitely kind of puts it up top. Because especially a puzzle game in which you can make your own levels is always really good. I'm sorry. But on its own, I would still say Mendel Palace is probably a better game to play. So I think I'm going to put this in between Quinty / Mendel Palace and Fozon. So yeah. Yeah, ActRaiser 2, it's one of those games where it expects you to play by its own rules and basically to it wants you to forget everything about any other action game, which is kind of one of the things that bugs me about it. But overall, it does some interesting things, and it kind of from what I remember, it looks pretty. Although I'm not a huge fan of the music in that game, which considering how powerful the soundtrack to ActRaiser was, it having a weaker soundtrack kind of bums me out. Fuck. This is very cutesy. I would put this as balanced. And I would, well, technically this was Japan only. Like / dislike. I know, if it's something that, especially that I kind of have to put it on for practically every game in the series, but the music is kind of a nightmare. It is always, it's kind of loopy, kind of like 22-second loops. So I kind of have to ding it for that a little bit. Like I don't have a charm for it, but there's something I kind of want to mark for the ability to create content. That because the thing is that yeah, I just need to think of something to mark for that because I like the kind of editability. I just need to think of something, so I'm just gonna put edit because yeah, that is definitely the main draw of the game, and I'll probably put that for now. So, right after this happens, yeah, because kind of some sort of construction thing, but I don't quite know what to put it as. So, with that, right around this time, the Eggerland series would actually go on a little bit of a hiatus because if you think about Eggerland Mystery, it was released in 1985. Eggerland 2 for the MSX was 86. Eggerland for the FDS was 87. And both of Revival Labyrinth and Departure to Creation both came out in 88. So the series would actually go on a 2-year hiatus. The next Japanese release would not come out until, I think, late 89. I think it's somewhere around then, but they took their time with the next one. And actually, it's funny because in the ending, if you beat all 50 stages, also I just realized there now you can see it. One thing that they did is if you beat all 50 stages of the pre-built ones in Departure to Creation, it'll say see you in the next Eggerland, which is funny because after this game they dropped the Eggerland franchise or branding, I guess, and just started to call it Adventure Lolo. But that would not be for a while. But in the meantime, right around I believe it was late 1988, HAL and let me do this. So HAL actually opened up an American branch, HAL America. The thing about HAL America is that it very much was a publishing kind of arm kind of thing. I have not done Secret of Evermore yet. I haven't done a lot of RPGs actually, just because they take so much time and I kind of want to build up these lists before I get into those heavy kind of things. But HAL America, kind of more of a publishing arm for, they did release some of the games that HAL did make in Japan. Games like the Eggerland for Windows is its own beast altogether, but it's going to be a while before we get to that one, and that's a weird story. But HAL America, the first couple of games that it released over here was actually not exactly HAL games altogether. It was actually a bunch of ports to the Famicom, or NES I guess in this case, of American arcade games, particularly ones that were developed by Williams. And I believe their first one, I need to take a look at the arcade. We're going to take a look at the arcade versions of these kind of quickly first, because we need to have something to compare it to. The first one we're going to take a look at, I believe this is the first one, is actually kind of a fascinating game. And it's very kind of one of the more prominent of the golden age of arcade games. But yes, it is a game. Well, let's just start up. So this is do not make me reset the excuse me, as it forces me to reset the board again. Okay, so this is, and you can kind of see it there. I want the title screen to appear. This is Joust, a 1982 Williams arcade game. Yeah, this is kind of a... I wish this game was better than it was, because this game is kind of rad. Let me change this here. And this will explain what the game is. So you are a jouster that's on an ostrich that can fly. And if you've played Balloon Fight, it is kind of basically the same game, except it's a lot simpler in terms of what counts as a hit. You see how you have the lance on your sprite? It is entirely dependent upon whose lance is higher. It doesn't matter what direction you're facing or anything. As long as your lance is higher than someone, you can fly into them backwards and it would still kill them. But that works against you as well. Yeah, so if you die, it does give you some mercy invincibility. And yes, there's the unbeatable, in quotes, pterodactyl. Basically, in order to... we'll see if I can get one to a spawn in this release. But they are, in fact, incredibly hard to kill. But there is a definitive way to kill it. Let's go ahead and start. Yes, we are plus with bait. So, unfortunately, a lot of ports of this game will give you a button, kind of akin to like Balloon Fight had, where it would automatically flap for you, or like it would auto flap. Not so much in the arcade one. You have to mash this. And this is a track and field level of mashing that this game requires. This game will kill your arm just as fast as track and field will. Also, this game has some slight, let's just say, questionable physics. The physics are just as fantastic as this game's setting. It's basically a good way to describe it. The thing is, whenever you kill an enemy, the egg will spawn. If you do not destroy it, I don't know how long, but after a while, another buzzard or another ostrich will come and take it up, and it will basically respawn. And yes, after wave 3, the size will start to diminish. So basically, much akin to Balloon Fight. Basically, if you go too close to that lava, as it said in the intro, the lava troll will grab you, and basically it will make it so that you can't move, which makes it incredibly invulnerable. The one nice thing about the sides being gone is that any eggs will start to go into the sides. You'll start to eventually have different colored, jousters. I forgot exactly what they were called. But yeah, basically that means that they are more aggressive. Or they're harder to deal with. And 20,000 gets you an extend. You would figure that the goal, or one thing that you would want to do, is actually just fly as high as you possibly can. That doesn't seem to actually help you as much in this case, because the enemies will respond basically just hovering over the ceiling in a way that you really can't do anything about it. And also, let's see if I can deal with this pterodactyl. And this is aggressive. It is an aggressive prick in this one. So basically the way you kill it is if you take a look at the pterodactyl sprite, you will see that its mouth is slightly open. So you have to get your lance to basically be in that pixel of its mouth. Egg waves. Yeah, it is incredibly hard to kill the pterodactyl. Although certain ports, as we will see, make it easier to deal with it, depending upon how they handle the spawning of the pterodactyl. Yep, now the middle thing will go away. no, actually, I think this is basically the arcade version of Joust. So, since the NES port of Joust that Hal did is actually incredibly similar to the arcade version, I'll just kind of go straight into that one. Also, you're going to be hearing this particular tune a lot. Yes. Oh, actually, I'm going to let this sit, because this does actually have the intro from the arcade version. Also, it's cool art, if you can't tell what the hell's going on. So, the one nice thing about this port is you do have, you can flap like normal, although it does give you an auto-fire, essentially. Let's go ahead and start. And yeah, it's fairly close to the original. Except all the enemies are going to be the same color. Also, I made a lot of comparisons to this game to Balloon Fight. That is more than incidental. This is a HAL Laboratories game, after all. The person who ported this version, apparently by himself, this is actually a Satoru Iwata joint, who also made Balloon Fight. So, yeah, kind of similarities to Balloon Fight probably are a little bit more than incidental. Also, if you haven't noticed, you get an extra bonus if you catch the egg in the air. I don't know if there's a kill screen in Joust, but it does essentially get harder. Yeah, you definitely don't want to start a wave at the bottom because that will get you killed really quickly, as you'd kind of imagine. You still want to be somewhat high, but you don't have to be high on top of the screen. Now I'm going to try and get a pterodactyl to spawn, because dealing with the pterodactyl in this version is slightly easier than it is in the arcade version. Yeah. As long as you stand at the bottom, you will kill the pterodactyl 100% of the time. And yeah, the egg wave is still there, the survival wave is not. And yeah, just like the arcade version, the platforms will start to disappear. Yeah, the enemies will start to kind of hover over the ceiling, which is practically impossible to deal with. Let's just kill this pterodactyl a little bit more. Yep. Oh, I guess they do start to get color spawn. They just start changing colors a little bit later than normal. Okay, I think that's enough of Joust, because you get the kind of gist of what Joust is from that. So yes. Yeah, so Joust, I'm gonna send the attack list. So, it's definitely not balloon tier or flight tier. I'll give it that. If the physics were a little bit more consistent, this would be a really good game. But no version of this game has really good physics, so it's always kind of a little bit of a chore to play. Also, a lot of the especially if you're playing the arcade game, this will kill your hand really easily. So I would probably put this probably over in between Devil World and Super Locomotive. Joust. I'll just do the arcade release. Arcade. And I'll just call that, you know what I'll call actually, in a weird way, that's kind of actually a weird platformer. And it's trying to be cool. So I'll give it that. And I'll put it, it's pretty balanced. Oh. That. I do like the art. I'll give it that. But I am not a fan of the controls. So there. So yeah, that is Joust, a arcade classic. But yes, that is definitely not the only one that they did, or that HAL put or made on the NES. Because one of their most, the ones that I have not seen that often, is actually a port. This is, in fact, another Williams game. And again, we're going to take a look at the arcade version first. And I think this actually is the first one that they brought over here. This is Stargate, which is actually this is the sequel to Defender. If you remember Defender, it was a game that basically, I wonder if it says, ooh, that's also probably not pleasant on the eyes. Oh, it's 1981. Yeah, Defender. It was a kind of a shmup that basically, it the kind of the thing about Defender that people know it for is that it was a 1980 game that had 5 buttons on its control panel. It was incredibly complicated for the time, and people did not think that actually this game would do well in arcades because of how complicated it is. But it ended up being an incredible hit. So much so that they decided to make a sequel of it. And they called Stargate. And it plays incredibly similar to the kind of original game, but with some added elements. Already added on top of the ones that I already had. So yes. One thing I do like, especially about the arcade release, is if you put in 2 credits, it'll actually give you, it'll let you play more. Also, see the game secrets? Huh. Okay. Okay, so Defender. Basically, your job is to kill everything that would, especially those landers that will take the people at the bottom of the screen. And, yeah, you are, in fact, supposed to defend them. And if you hear that sound you heard right there, that means that one of them is being kidnapped. And let's try taking the Stargate. Wait. Gonna drop him? Oh, okay, that guy got taken up, and when the lander takes a dude and it gets him to the top of the screen, he turns into, I forgot what they call it, but basically he turns super, like, aggro. Also, you can kill the people at the bottom, which don't do that. There's attack wave 1 down. Yeah, they're kind of difficult. All of Williams' games are pretty difficult. Defender, with it being incredibly complicated, is definitely more so. Oh, that human just got killed. Okay, so yeah, this is kind of the gist of Stargate, so let's do something fun. Let's see what happens whenever you kill all the people. Well... Oh, also one thing they added is you have cloaking device, which basically makes you invincible. Also, you still have the warp, which is almost always suicide. So yeah, I guess all the things just spawn aggro. Okay, so yeah, that is Defender 2/Stargate. So, let's take a look at the home port. As I said, you're going to hear this music a lot. In Japan, this port was known as Stargate. Over here, it was just called Defender 2. So, let's just do A. Also, for some reason, they use music from the Punch-Out arcade game? Like I said, for some reason they use music from the Punch-Out arcade game. Because this would have been I believe this would have been pre-Punch-Out on the NES. No, because it's probably too complicated for the game to handle. I think I think it is a piece of, like, it's like a standard of something. I forgot what it's called, though. I see this port a lot on Famiclones, your Power Joys and all that. Aqua Kitty Milk Mine Defender is really good. We actually ranked that when we did ranking of shmups. The Switch version of it specifically. And it was pretty high. Captain Skyhawk was actually rare. Okay, let's do one more wave. Because Defender, as interesting as a kind of a game it is, you kind of see what it is. Okay, so yeah. That's Defender 2. Actually, not that bad. Okay, so. Defender 2. Also belongs on the attack list. I think I might actually put 2 entries for this. One for the well, they're pretty simple, or simple enough. I kind of wish I was looking at the ranking of shmups. Actually, I wonder, where did I put the original Defender on the ranking of shmups list? I want to say it was towards the middle, due to how old it was. Oh, well. Filter on everything. Defender, right here. Okay, so kind of in that area. Low yellow. What do we got in our low yellow? I kind of actually think right in between Donkey Kong Jr. and Sonic the Hedgehog is probably a really good spot for it. So 100, and that was 1981. Also by Williams, for the arcade. That most definitely was a shmup. Definitely was a shmup. Say the right thing. And for as colorful as that game is, I would still call it pretty atonal. And I'll say it's pretty balanced. I'm actually going to one thing I will criticize about it is the art, because it is very, very finicky. Oh, also content photosensitivity warning. Yeah, its flickering is actually very distracting. So there is that. I think that's kind of what I'll just leave it at that for now. So yeah, that's kind of enough for Defender 2. Let's move on. So, the third and final of the arcade releases they have, I believe this is more of an Atari game and not a Williams game. Let's load it and find out. This is in fact an Atari game, and you can kind of see it there. But this is, I don't know if it has a dedicated title screen. But this is Millipede, the sequel to Centipede. It does not seem to have one. The original version of this game is a trackball game, but works pretty well if you have a stick. So let me put the name here. Millipede. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. You can select kind of your starting score, which will make the game harder. But let's just start at 0. So yeah, if you're not familiar with Centipede, your goal is to kill the Centipede. And in Millipede, the goal is to kill the Millipede. But you have some additional tools to help you out. Namely DDT bombs. Oops. Which if you shoot one, will do that. Let me actually time it right. This game, yeah, it's kind of a calliope of, like, incredible weird sounds. Oh, okay. Yeah, hopefully nothing's going out. Hopefully nothing's going on your end. So yeah, as you continue it's basically this. There. That's Millipede. So let's switch over to the home port. Once I restart RetroArch because something has gone wrong. So yes, Millipede. Let's see, is there a kind of a... Is there a track screen? Yes, it is. They are moving down with, I believe, every Millipede killed. Little thing that kind of shows off. Okay, no. Let's go and start. That's probably a better description. It's Millipede. I can't remember if Centipede had an elaborate story or not. Yeah, I don't know why they made it so that you can't, like, go up the entirety of the screen. Wait, can I just... Oh. Huh. You know, I think we have seen enough of Millipede because... It's Millipede. That also belongs in the attack list. So. Let's see. I would probably rather play Stargate over, I think I'm somewhere in between Stargate and Joust. It is kind of basic. Actually, you know, I think actually right below Stargate is probably a good spot for it. Two games. Paid. Patch them up. I'll still call it a tonal. And it's pretty balanced. Really though, there's nothing I can really say that... Oh, also let me move it up. There's nothing really I would put for this, because there's nothing really I like, and nothing really that I dislike either. It's just kind of a game that really just kind of exists. So, yeah, I think that is what I will leave it as that. Because we don't have to put something for everything. But, with that, we'll take a little tiny kind of break-ish. Because one thing that I promised that I would do, since it's 100 episodes, and wanted to be nice to some of the people who have joined my Discord and also hung around for a while, is I'm going to give away some subs for $25 sub, or sub tiers, not sandwiches. $25 sub would be a lot. So here's how I'm going to do this. Turn that off. Put this up real quick. And we are going to actually do a wheel. And also I'm going to have to get Twitch up so that I can figure out how to actually do this. Kind of a fortune. I wonder if I can do this through chat. Can I gift... Should have probably looked this up before I did this. Let's see. Twitch. Gift sub. Oh, actually, I know what I can do. Now, hopefully I don't hear my own stream. Okay, good, I'm muted. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. Streamlabs have this wheel function, and I'm going to spin it for a few times, 4 specifically. So, let's see who wins a sub. And these were basically, I had a thing on my Discord that basically was like, oh, hey, I want a free sub. And these are the people who said they would like a free sub. So let's go ahead and start. First person is... Redux. Do this. You're getting a tier 3 sub. You know, I'm gonna do this in a sec because this looks to be a complicated process. Also, I'm gonna put some music on. Okay, so Redux won it. Caduceus. Let me also put this up. Oh. Axe. I'll just spin again. The wheel screws up if you... Oh, Torpo. There we go. Okay. Next. And... Oh, no, because I thought I put it in there that you had to actually put it in there. Well, we'll see. Well, the thing is, we'll see. Let me do this. Let me do this real quick. Yeah, you were in that list. There we go. Yeah, go figure. Oh, how do I... Crap. Here's the problem is I can't... How am I supposed to... I can't spell what her thing was. This way? I'll just do it through this. I'll just move on to Torpo. Or so, actually, Axe is next. Oh! That's unfortunate. Axe is already subbed, so apparently you cannot upgrade someone's sub. Huh. That's unfortunate. Let me just move on the turbo. There's Topor. Let's see. Well, here's the thing. So this was actually a way that I could try and get the emotes. So let me actually give out a consolation prize real quick. And that puts me at 17 on 25, huh? Let me try this. Here, let me actually do this. Because I need to, I'm going to have a little bit extra that I'm going to need to give out to do what I'm trying to do. So there you go. Here's a free sub. Let's see. Well, I'll have to let him know that he needs to unsub me for a sec. I will do that later then, I guess. So yes, there we now have that. So, enough of those shenanigans. Thank you for the host, Kaylon. Okay, so now that I've done that, let's move on back to some games. Hey, Kishizzle. Let me do this. Now back to our back to the games. So, let me do this, because the next game we're going to take a look at, we're not quite at Lolo yet, but there is a game that Hal did bring out kind of similar to this, or not similar to this. Oh! That makes sense. Okay, that's why I couldn't find it. Okay. I did not realize you changed your name. Ooh. Well, there you go. Here's your sub. So yes, now you can do, now you have access to all three of these. Yep. Okay, so yes, enough of that. So yes, let's take a look at this game. It also kind of reminds me, I've not actually taken a look at a game of this genre yet. But this, it's going to be... This is an MSX game, and this is Rollerball. Unfortunately, has nothing to do with the movie of the same name. This is, in fact, a pinball game. And as you can see there, has some names behind it. Namely, that is, in fact, Satoru Iwata. Let's just go and start. Because, yeah. Thankfully, I don't get zapped if I am too close to the edge. I think that's 4. Also, this pinball table is really weird. Yeah, so the thing about a lot of old pinball games is that tilting is not something that you can do. It does kind of sound like Crazy Bus. Also, there's a slot machine, but it's weird because the slot machine, it's you do one reel at a time. Yeah, I kind of wish they had some sort of music. But yeah, one thing about this particular thing is, like, this is one of the... HAL Laboratories had a thing for pinball games. And this kind of being their first one. Because if you think about it, there's games like Revenge of the Gator on the Game Boy. There's Kirby's Pinball Land. There's a game we're going to take a look at next. There is Pokemon Pinball. So yes. That was Rollerball for the MSX. It is a very basic pinball game. Kind of around the same time that HAL actually made NES Pinball. But yeah. That is not this. Do this. All of that loads. So, Rollerball. It's a very simple pinball game. Like, almost as simple as you can get. Except for the fact that it's 4 screens long. But it ain't terrible. Like, it could be a lot worse. The physics are okay. But, yeah. So, Let me see. I'm definitely putting this above Lunar Pool. I'd rather kind of play QDQ. Well, I'd probably rather play Arkanoid. I think in between Arkanoid and QDQ is where I'd put that. So 100, and that was 1984. Al Laboratory. Sucks. It is, in fact, a pinball game. That I would call atonal. And it's pretty beginner friendly. It's probably all I'd give it for. There's some of the sound effects are good, some of the sound effect, you know what, I'd put sound balance maybe as the thing. I'd detract from that. So yeah. That was Rollerball, and as you note there, Rollerball Classic. Because that was not the only Rollerball game that HAL made. There's, in fact, this as well. There was an NES version. The Super Pinball game. That will excite and amuse you. It says it's credited at 1988 because this came out, I believe, December 20th, 1988 in Japan. In America, it came out like 1990. Also, it has up to 4 players, which is kind of neat. Also, I'm going to show this off real quick because it's actually a change they made from the Japanese to American version. So you see how you have a elephant and a donkey? Much akin to, you know, the representations of the Republican and Democratic parties. That is something they changed for the American version. I believe in the Japanese version it is an elephant and giraffe. Yes, I just realized that. I don't know. I guess they thought they were being cute. Let's go and start. So Skyscraper is the main kind of pinball table. And, oddly enough, shares a lot of sound effects from the MSX game, with the exception of it actually has music this time. Pretty good music, too. Oh! Huh. Okay. God damn it. So, the thing with High, that is HAL America's. For some reason, they went by High. which I believe is just Hell America Inc. I believe in the Japanese version it would just say Hell. Yeah, we'll see the logo when we do the next. Well, no, I think we saw the logo actually. But yeah, it's HAI, which is something I always thought it was High Laboratory at first. I don't think that's probably... I would highly doubt if that's what they're referencing. It'd be very funny if it was, though. Especially since Hell America is very much defunct now. I'll at least show off some of the other stuff, some of the like other bonuses before I commit to losing a ball. There we go. Come on. Yes, I have to get yes, I have to get 4,220,000. Yes, numbers. This game didn't need this good of music, but I very much appreciate it. There we go. I would expect that the pinball number would have 420 numbers in it. There, now that we've activated the sky highlights. Come on. There we go. Ah, there we go. Of course. So yes, since I got in that hole earlier... It's great that I got... There, now we... There. Now we have multi-ball. The multi-ball music is also very good. No, I want to get into the... There we go. Oh, I didn't do anything. Wait, what? Right. That's... Yeah, the problem is that it didn't follow the logic that it did before. There we go. Also, I imagine that in-ear collision for pinball, like calculating that in a game like this is not exactly easy. Okay. Okay, I've hit at least 420,000. Okay, I think that is basically all the secrets of this game. It is just a very good... It is a pretty decent pinball game, so I guess... Okay, so I get... Okay, so that basically is just... It's a free ball. Okay, so yeah. That is Rollerball for the NES. So... Yeah, it's a pretty decent pinball game. Probably one of the better ones on the system. Although I wish it had tilting mechanics, but can't have everything. Alright. So we put Rollerball Classic or Arkanoid. I would probably actually put Rollerball for the NES. Probably below Dream Penguin Adventure. And in between Space Gun. Yeah, we kind of liked it. So. But atonal. And it's balanced. Alright. For light, I would definitely say I like the music. Yeah, I can see. I can see the tone being cool. Sorry, one sec. Okay. There we go. So yeah. There's that. That's probably all I'd put for Rollerball, though. So, with that, moves on to the main event. So, right around after, right around Hal made or finished doing Eggerland Mystery or Eggerland Departure to Creation, and now that they have this Hal America branch, they kind of figured, well, we haven't released any of the Eggerland games in the States. The thing is, we can't really do any of the other games we have. The MSX did not take off over here. The Famicom Disk System did not come out over here. Eggerland's kind of confusing, and it's kind of coded harshly, or it's kind of a mess on its own for the Famicom Disk System, let alone translating into something else. Revival of the Labyrinth is way too hard to just do that at first, so it kind of seemed like they had, okay, we have this Departure to Creation game, but we also are working on our next version of Adventure, what would eventually come out in Japan as Adventure of Lolo. But we kind of want to release a version of the game over here. So, what ended up happening was that we got our very own release of, essentially, we got our very own Eggerland game, which is exclusive to the US and to Europe. Which actually reminded me, one little trivia about Rollerball. There's not apparently a European version of Rollerball for the NES. There is, for some reason, an Australian one, though, but not a European one. So, who knows? So, before we move on to actually looking at the game itself, I think we should take a look, well, at the game itself. And I mean that quite literally. Hopefully. Excuse me as I adjust the mic real quick. Okay. Lights. So, let's take a... Well, first off... Come on. First off, one thing I do want to take a look at first. Okay, why are you so out of focus? Come on. Okay. There we go. So, first thing I want to take a look at. This is actually a disc of Departure to Creation. Yeah. When it came as a disc, no fancy art. The only art is on the actual disc itself. And it uses the same art as Revival of the Labyrinth did on its box art. So yeah. Oh, there we go. 1988 Hell. So yeah. There's Departure to Creation, an actual disc of it. But that's not what we're going to take a look at. We're taking a look at this. This is Adventure to Lolo. This box, it's a third-party box that I ended up getting for kind of... I don't have an actual original box of this. But yeah, the art is actually really good on this. Here's a replication of the art of the box. Which, by the way... I do notice that there are a few spelling mistakes on here, namely the Kimph of Darkness. Yes, what you're talking about, that is actually Eggerland. The might have had the disc around here somewhere, but yes, that is the actual disc art. So what you would see on here for Eggerland, like right here, that is what that art. So the cart is in here. And here is my actual cart that I had, well, possibly 30 years ago. So yeah, that's what it looks like. The shininess is probably not helping by my lighting source. So yes, that's the cart. But I also have this, which is the original manual. Yeah, that's what the HAL Laboratories logo, or the HAL America logo looks. It's HAL America, the Fanatic specialist. Black and white screenshot. Yeah, basically just tells you how to play. Really interesting. Although I do like this art right here. This fuzzball picture of Lolo. Also, the person who I got this manual from, I definitely did some. There's some passwords. They didn't give you. The weird thing is, they didn't give you a. Usually, these sections have a note section. I have a noise gate, which is probably why it seems like I cut off. Also, inside of got a box copy of Lolo. And I'm not going to be able to put this all in shot, but this is what else is coming in? This is a poster that advertises other HAL Laboratories games, or HAL America games. So, yep, these are the games that it's kind of or some of the games got, and also my light. Let me see if I can arrange. Dire. This thing is pretty shiny, so you can see there's Air Fortress. I'm going to assume that this is King Egger right here. And also there is the pin. So here is the games that it's referencing here. I always find it funny when the game gives you an ad for the game that you just bought. But also it has something for Vegas Streams, which we have not looked at yet. Come on, focus. Vegas Streams, which is interesting, that is not actually a HAL Laboratories developed game. At least I don't think it is. I think it's actually a Sony developed one. Yeah, it's probably included in all of these. But also there is... come on. Oh yeah, and that's where they were located. Do not call that telephone number. But yeah, they're from Beaverton, Oregon. But yeah. It was also interesting at a time where game companies were not just focused entirely in California. But yep, there is also... see, there's also... Oh, come on. There's also Rollerball. And finally, Air Fortress. So yeah. That is the poster that came in the box copy. So, as you'd imagine, Lolo being a puzzle game, I remember reading an article about someone who was working at a Nintendo hotline, because back in the NES era, Nintendo had its own kind of hotline for game. I forgot what it's actually called, but it was basically a game support line. It basically saying that the moment they would say hello, what is the game you need help with, they would just hear Lolo, and they would just have a cold sweat because they knew it was going to be like a 20-minute Oh, it's a home security company. Interesting. They would just go in a cold sweat because they knew that would be a 20 or 30-minute conversation. So, as you could probably imagine, people would need help with these kind of games, which is why HAL America made this. This is, you can call into them, and you can get the Adventure of Lolo Strategy Guide. And it contains, well, it's basically an enhanced manual. I'm going to have to move over here, so apologies if my voice goes out a little bit. Yeah, it's basically a much more beefy version of the manual. I like that Dom Medusa. But yeah, it is practically just a bigger version of the manual. But, as you'd imagine, with it being a contains guides for every single level in the game. The one fascinating thing about the strategy guide is that they give you figures for like what phases you were supposed to be in the level. These all look hand drawn, like individually hand drawn. Like there's no copy and pasting at this point. I'm gonna have to draw all these out. And yeah, they give very kind of descriptions. Occasionally see some fun art. I don't know why the front of the snaky's face looks like that. Yeah, it's like, yeah. Come on, you can focus. There we go. Why is there's a skull? But yeah, that is the Adventure Lolo Strategy Guide. Also, this really doesn't, it's kind of sort of tied, but just want to show this off real quick. Uh, this is a secondhand version. I do not know why someone cut out this part right here. I can only assume, based on when this book came out, that they wanted to make a pog out of it. But this is the top secret passwords book that Nintendo put out. In fact, get that art right there. Get that guy. Has, in fact, Lolo in it. This is a more of a everything guide because it had up to Adventure Lolo 3, 3, it had Air Force, it had Bases Loaded, Battle of Olympus stuff. Voxel. Yeah, it's had a lot of stuff. And also it had so the weird thing about Adventure Lolo 2, its guide, it did not get its own How America developed guide. Some guy, though, did eventually make a bootleg version that you could have gotten on eBay a long time ago. I did not end up getting one, but yeah, it was essentially a very bootleg thing. Quite interesting. But yes, enough of that. It is time for the main event. So, yes. Let's go ahead and start. Once RetroArch decides to play nice. Here we go. So yes. Come on. So here. Hi. I'm going to... So... I'm going to do this real quick. So yes. Here we go. So one thing that, so this actually just recently came out. You can actually get this on the 3DS and I believe the Wii U. In fact, the Wii, well actually I don't think you can anymore because the systems are down. But you can get it on the 3DS Virtual Console. This is also on the NES Online service for the Switch. One thing they did change is in that intro, I tried to minimize the flashing that would be on screen. The versions that have come out recently take that completely out, which I think is nice. But yes. Yeah. Let's go and start. We're going to the castle. So yeah, oddly enough, they call him the Great Devil in this game, or in the US versions. Which is really weird considering how unreligious Nintendo really wanted their games to be. It's probably a weird way to say that. Also, one thing to point out right off the bat is the Adventure of Lolo series there is a huge graphical upgrade from the older Eggerland. Namely, you actually have a floor now. And also, the graphics were touched up a little bit. Namely, Lolo's eyes are no longer transparent, which is nice. One other thing that the Adventure of Lolo games in general, Departure to the Creation did this in general, but it seemed like there is a huge paradigm shift in puzzle design in this game compared to the older Eggerlands. Oh yeah, also they made Lolo's shoes white because in Eggerland they were all red. He was always wearing red shoes. I don't know why, but yeah. So this room actually has a glitch in it, for some reason. It's not a crucial one, but it is definitely there. So, when I get the treasure chest, keep an eye on that door at the top. For some reason, it shifts one position. Also, so it seems like they did not touch up the Rocky sprites a little bit because you can just barely see that their sprites are just a little bit transparent. But yeah, this room, it was originally in Departure to Creation, they decided to make it more difficult by adding 2 Rockies in here. Oh, that's not gonna work. The mouth is also transparent. It's anything that would be black. Nope. Come on. Oh, also, game playing. Gotta make sure that this is right. There. So yes, this castle has 10 floors. Each one has 5 stages. Also, I do not know why there's a graphical glitch there, because I've never seen that happen before. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's probably the emulator. And yeah, they originally, in Departure to Creation, this room had just a Medusa in it. Now it's not Medusa. Still doesn't make it hard, but still gives you a little bit more of a chance to fight it. Oh, the shift in puzzle design. They very much made it, one big one is, they basically no longer really use water. I think there are, like, a grand total of, like, 3 rooms in this entire game that actually use water as a obstacle. And one of the things, like, that Eggerland really liked to use was, they really like to have puzzles in which you had to guess what the currents were. They do not really do that in this game anymore. Because they realized that's bad. That is in fact the Kirby, I believe that is in fact the Kirby 1-up noise. But at a different speed. And yeah, also, they do tend to use grass and trees as decoration for levels now, because in Eggerland, a lot of puzzles were kind of bare, and they just basically had exactly what they needed. They actually decide to be a little bit more, like, decorative in terms of design. One thing that unfortunately was a casualty from Eggerland is the fact that there are no alternative music tracks. This is the only level track in the game. Actually, no, I don't want to get that. Okay. This one actually might give me a little bit of trouble. Whoop, especially if that happens. Crap. Okay, here we go. Oh, nope. There we go. Dealing with that Alma can be a little finicky. And yeah, like, anytime that you really use something to, like, push in the water, it's basically incredibly clear on where exactly the path is going to go. There's no real, like, oh, I don't know where exactly this is going to go, so it's a lot of guessing. It's very deliberate. Yeah, I need to kind of listen to it a little bit more back to back, but I can definitely hear that. They do seem to, because this was the main music from Meikyu no Fukatsu and Departure to Creation, but it seems like it's slightly shifted. And I'm not huge into music, so I think with the twine. That is just what they do. Those are leapers. The thing is, when they fall asleep, is that you cannot touch them, or like you cannot do anything with them at all. You can't egg them, you can't do anything. They're stuck there. Also, one of the things that does make this game look a little weird, I believe the number of frames, like if we take a look at Lolo, like just walking in general, he seems to have, I believe it's like 6 frames of animation. Everything else has at most 2. Well, the thing is that the Lolo franchise kind of stopped before the Kirby franchise really began. The only one, I believe the only case of one actually being out, I think, the Game Boy one would have come out or after, Dreamland and I think even Adventure. But, yeah, the Kirby, once Kirby came along, Kirby kind of became the favorite child, and Lolo kind of just got swept to the side. Which I always wonder if that is due to some legal thing. Yeah, like this is the only real like water level in the game, or except for another one. But you know, I believe actually if you push it either direction, it'll take you to the exact same spot. Yes, Lolo did, actually Lolo and also, it's depending upon how you interpret it, but the skull enemy could have shows up in Dreamland. Also the Rocky enemy shows up as a mid-boss in Dreamlands 2 and 3. Now this one's a bit tricky. So the thing with that Adventure Lolo added is the fact that you have to get to the door at the end. This is one of the few puzzles that actually you can get screwed over even if you beat the level, quote-unquote. If you don't do this just right. because you have to push it exactly here. Yeah, because if you push this block, like this, or this one that I'm looking at right there, if you push that block any higher, you would not be able to exit the level. Okay, so... That one is a little tricky because if you don't know that you get eggs there, you can kind of, it's kind of a little like, oh, I don't have any eggs, why would I do that? But... so this one's kind of, this is a kind of an interesting level because it teaches a rather, interesting trick that you have to learn, which is the concept of half blocks. Because remember, as long as it's partially blocked, it counts as being fully blocked. What Eggerland games have I played? Practically all of them. Including the weird PC release. Oh, what? Huh, I've never seen that happen before. The MSX ones are interesting from a historical historical standpoint. They do not play nearly as well as the NES ones, though. But they're still plenty serviceable. So one thing that's nice about with this kind of enemy set is that because there's no goal, there's no nothing that kind of awakens. You you really can take any heart framer in any order, which is always nice. I just gotta remember where. I think. It's gotta be... Try this. This might work. I think I might have screwed myself though. I just don't know how. I should be good. Push. Nope, because I need... Nope. Hey, Rejects. Yes, I see that you won your, see that you won your, subscription. Oh, here we go. This is the one I need to do. Because, yeah, now we go here. There. I like how they have this here, this little passage here, solely for the fact that if you try and be lazy and do a cut early, it just kills you. Oh. There is no point for that early bit, but I still like that it's there anyway. There's a lot of extra stuff to that level that really doesn't need to be there. Okay, this one I know was from Eggerland Mystery. Push that there, and then do that. That, and then that, and then that. That. Yeah, this one is basically, it's one... I really like when they have these kind of puzzles where it's basically, it's like you just gotta make sure where you're at in the one-way tiles. Go. Alright, so we're halfway through. But yeah, as you'd probably expect, the puzzles get a little bit more difficult. Also remember that heart framers will block Medusa shots. Treasure chest will not, though. I did this in a roundabout fashion, but it still works. Go. Oops. Okay, where did I go wrong? Oh, here we go. Yeah, the mode B in Mystery is kind of dumb. Why would you want a time mode in a puzzle game? Oh, this one. This one's weird. This is one... requires that you know exactly where you want this sleeper to end up. And that is right here. Although they do put a grass patch right there, so maybe that could be used as a hint. It can be, although in general it's pretty fine. I don't think I can ride that one out. No, okay. Yeah, so there you go. The thing that's about making situations unwinnable is that just, it's part of the game, and it's actually very, death is very cheap in this game, because all losing your lives do is just give you a password and just take, you continue right exactly where you left off. So it's not like you'll get, like royally screwed out of, also I just ran. Yeah, this one looks a lot more stressful than it actually is. There we go. Oh, this one I remember being a nightmare.
How goes being aggressively on brand?
We are about halfway through the 7th level.
Nice!
Let's see.
And Insomnia sucks, my dude.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Okay. Oh, what is it? Wait, what am I doing? Oh, I know. Oh, I know what it is. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Too much. Just gotta be quick. Yep. Okay. Time to parse this. Okay, so I think... Okay, so... I'm definitely gonna... It's... This art framer there, it's gonna have to be one of those that's gonna have to get reversed. And one of these. And I think it's this one. I think it's this direction.
Man, I have no clue how to make hide nor hair of this fucking room.
Yeah, it's you have to remember that it's like it's kind of the thing like like in bullet hells where it's like remembering that the bullet is not the entire like the pixel. It's like the bullet is not entirely the thing that will kill you. It's the pixel that's inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
And just trying to parse out a pattern. It is very much that same kind of skill.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a lot of this is just being very familiar with the rules of how this game works, which seem kind of arbitrary at times.
It can be, but then again, a game just recently came out that is very much that exact same concept.
No?
Bob is you.
Okay, yeah, you know what, you're right. You're completely right, and I hate that fact.
Which, in my mind, I just consider that Baba is you to basically be the word munchers, so this game's number munchers. I don't know if it could. Let's see. Fluorite. Now is where the real nightmare ones, if I remember correctly, start to come in. Okay,
how many floors are there?
10.
Oh god. Also, I like how it stacks up the floor is done messages.
That is a very nice touch. Yes. The music is very much a thing. I will not lie and say that, like, this music's good. It very much is not.
I don't know, this song's alright, but the problem is how much you hear it.
It is a 22-second loop that has... the thing is that, this entire franchise has a formula for how its music works. It is a section that will repeat itself twice, and then there's like a little bridge section, and then there's an ending section. That is the pattern for every single one of the songs in this entire franchise.
As I said before, like the song's pretty alright. It's just
short.
Hear it a lot. Short and
a lot.
Yes, very a lot.
I'm not sure. I think I did this wrong.
Yeah, you kind of fucked yourself there, champ.
No, I need to think of how I want to do this. Think if I do...
Yeah, just hearing this loop for a couple hours will fucking ruin it for you, no matter how good it is.
Yeah, God. The Eggerland Mystery Musical was really good.
Do you need to... I think push it back down.
Yeah, then we do... Nope. No, I just need to hold on to there and up there for a while. I need to push this one down.
Yeah, not a huge fan of this puzzle, but that's just because it feels like a lot of busy work.
Kind of. It's one of the more busy work-ish ones. Okay, now at this point... Well, no, I still am safe if I push this there. Do that just for...
And you don't even need to push it all the way.
Actually, I don't even need to do anything. Oh, these are always fun.
Oh man, is it time for half-tile bullshit?
Yep.
Does this level require it, or does it just make your life easier? Oh, gross.
Sure.
God, fucking half-tiling.
This is one of the, this is probably the most busy work of the busy work ones. It's a relatively easy solution, it just requires you to go in circles a lot.
Ugh.
Except I just realized that skull's there, but that should be fine.
You should be fine.
Guess I can push this up, this up. There we go. If it goes, yeah, if it goes over there, then it should be fine. The thing with Damadusa puzzles in this one tend to be that they look scarier than they actually are. Oop. Yeah, the sound of you getting hit by a Medusa is never not startling.
It's very sudden, yeah, in a game with...
It is the sound of all of your breath being drawn out of your chest. Which is... The Medusa sound is actually one of the reasons why when I played this as a kid, I would play it on mute.
And not the music?
That also did not help. Also, the sound that Lolo makes when he dies is kind of horrifying.
Yeah. I was gonna say, why did you feel the need to do that circle? And I realized the Medusa's down there.
Yep. Oh, the sound? No, I'll do it once I finish this. Or here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't you just do that? Granted, it happens super fast, but...
In the MSX... Yeah, the Medusa sound in the MSX games is really weird. Except for the Damadusa ones, which basically sounds like you getting stabbed. Here's what the death noise sounds like. Also, the face that he makes is... Oh, they changed it. Oh, yeah, that's another graphical change they made. Is they changed the face he makes. He no longer sticks his tongue out.
I still like going back to Baba Is You and that when you fuck up and it just...
Oh, the
everything goes silent and you get this ominous ambient noise. Run. God, you and your half-tile bullshit.
Oh, this is a fun one. Okay, so, want this one blocked off. This one blocked off.
I hate half-tiling so much.
Now, if I mash this out, I should be fine. Nope. Okay, I gotta time it right. There we go.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking rude.
I don't think that's the intended solution. That's just the one that I felt like doing.
The one that makes life easier.
Oh, wrong one.
Aha. The greatest power-up of all, bridge.
Now this one's a bit tricky because actually I need to prep for this. So you're gonna get there's a stack of 2 more egg shots in that one. But this one, patience is key in this one. Yeah, if you get that too quick and you're screwed. Oh, by the way, did you notice that you have a thing by your name now?
Do I? Oh god. Let me crack open that stream, which I forgot to do.
Yeah, by the way, Axe, can you do me a favor and unsub because you won a $25 sub and it's not going to let me do it until you unsub.
I see. Please, it's not a $25 sub, it's $24.99. Yeah, I know, right time! Fucking A.
I mean... Oh shit, yeah, three of them are one. I swear that's not how that intended. You people all saw that. The wheel was fine. There was no extra weighting on the wheel.
That wheel was rigged, motherfucker.
Yes you can, actually, Axe, if you want to point someone out.
Suck shit, Kalon. It's kind of funny it worked out that way.
Alright. Yep. Once I finish this level, I will go and process that.
Sucks to suck, Kalon. That place up top is a hell dimension.
I like the, that Axe use the who's gonna rank Crash Bandicoot method. This level sucks. One sec.
Can't believe fucking Alex Kidd is better than Crash Bandicoot. Fuck off, Bear.
Oh,
Gonna fucking give Bear a swirly.
there you go. Okay, so I have to do it like this. And this one sucks because you're corralling leapers. God damn it, I hate this. Works. Also, this is the only one that really requires a little bit of guesswork because you have to guess which or know which one of these gives you an extra 2 or else you're screwed. See, that's the thing that sucks, is the fact that they can go up like that. Let's see,
Yeah, this is a bit rough.
That works. Shit.
This is super rough. Something about the puzzle design in these games always tends to rub me a little bit wrong. I can't put my finger on why.
Yeah, there's one that you can block with the other one. They get better with these particular sets of them. It's just this one is a bit. This one comes from an older one, which is why it's not that good. Okay, there we go. Because yeah, you can then do this. We're actually good at this point. I just have to place them in a spot where they're not gonna screw me over. Right here.
I have that one framer up there just being fucking useless.
I just realized I screwed myself over.
Hell yeah, let's reverse.
Should actually be. This is gonna be tricky, but I can do this. Oh, actually, no, I know what I can do. I don't even need that.
You mean you could just egg a Stinky and move it?
I can do this. That.
Ah, yes, abuse the fact that they can only have one fire on screen at a time.
Yep, it's called puzzle solving.
Hey, it fucking works! I ain't judging you, dude.
Yep.
The secret to puzzle games is who gives a shit how you solve it as long as it's solved.
Okay, this isn't the... No, that's not the way you do this one.
No, you kind of fucked yourself there on that one already. God, I love currents. They're terrible.
They're, as I was saying earlier, they're a lot easier to deal with in this game. Now, is this one where they... Nope, this is not one of those.
I have a feeling they're easier to deal with because there isn't a giant fucking water section.
Yeah, they as I said earlier, there's like 4 stages in this game that even have water in them to begin with.
Did they just realize, oh, this is terrible?
Yes. Might not be quite easy to see where I screwed up, but I definitely screwed up at that point.
You mean realizing you have no way to get across?
Well, you have to do this.
Well, yeah, no, basically what you did is you put the snaky in the wrong spot, so if you were to break the egg, you would have been screwed.
There we go.
No, I can figure these things out. I've seen enough of these to understand the rules.
Yeah. Oh, this one is a really weird one.
No, don't you just push it over and in front of the...
I'm just trying to... because I need to... do this in a particular order.
Oh man, getting to the chest is gonna be a real fucker.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Look, it's called being on brand, Tyrion, okay? So what do you gotta do? Put the snaky in between the Medusa?
Yeah.
And the heart frame. Then you gotta get the frame, then you gotta kick the egg. So you can, like, then get the... Just not sure how you're gonna get the egg between the Medusa and where you need to go.
No, it's getting the snaky in between. Because it's... push it here. Go here. Whoop. Do not shoot. Yep. Come on. Do that. That. Oh! I didn't realize we were on the 10th floor. Okay. So this one I think is actually exclusive to this version. You're gonna like the solution for this one since you love half tiles so much.
Oh god.
So I think it's this one. No, it's... wait. No, it's... oh no, it's... yeah, do both of them. So you see how the goals are kind of positioned in a very specific spot? You need to go at that exact spot, or else you'll die. But also...
I hate this. Yes! Well, surprisingly easily.
yeah.
Huh.
So there we go. As it takes the title theme from Revival of the Labyrinth and combines it with the normal ending theme.
Man, I wish these trees would come back a bit faster.
They'll speed up a little bit.
Is that a weird visual bug on the right?
Yes. But yes. The end.
You did it. I'm so proud of you. I was here the entire time and it was great.
Yes. So yeah, that's it. There's no credits, no nothing. Just the end.
That's really weird, actually.
Yeah, none of the Adventure Lolo games have credits in them.
I mean, I guess this was time before this week that became the industry standard, but
Yeah.
it's not good, but you know.
Which is weird because Eggerland and Revival of the Labyrinth have credits.
Huh.
This one just doesn't. So yes. That is the Adventures of Lolo. So, let's go ahead and, well, first I'm going to sort these. Okay, so back to the mine category. So, let me put Departure to Creation where we put it. Well, because here's the thing. So, Departure to Creation is neat because it has the creation mode. Although, I feel that Adventure Lolo in general is just a more... Oh, yeah, the Game Boy one does have credits. So... I would say that this is a better game to Departure to Creation. And while I do feel like this is actually a really good set of puzzles to start, like, if you're new to the franchise.
I don't know, it gets pretty kind of dumb.
Dumb in what sense?
Once again, like, there's a lot of half-tile stuff, especially later on, and I don't know. I don't like the half-tile stuff because it requires a sort of familiarity with how to kind of break things, even though it's required.
Though, the thing that I would say about that is that's kind of the point of block games. Like, that is a mainstay of a lot of them, though.
I'm aware. I'm just saying. I'm not huge on half-tiling just because it's this weird messing with the rules that even though it's required, it feels wrong. Like, it's the kind of thing you wouldn't think would work unless you know it works.
I can see that, but I still think that's just... It's knowing any of the other things in the game.
Yeah. It's just like a personal preference thing. I still do think it's a really good game, though.
It is. For one, I don't think it's one. I would still say, with Adventure Lolo 1, I would still say Intelligent Cube is a better game.
And personally, I would prefer Mendel Palace, but that's just personal taste.
Yeah, because I think that Tengen Tetris is really good.
At the very least, Tengen Tetris is better. That I will say.
Yeah, because I would say I think kind of cutting the difference between us, I think putting it in between Tengen Tetris and Quinty is probably...
That sounds fine. Yeah, that sounds perfectly fine.
Now, once we get to 3, then we're going to have a discussion.
Fucking duke it out.
Although at that point, then IQ Final's getting into the mix too. So yes, this is episode 100. 1989. Now Laboratory. For the NES. Yeah, we're gonna have to get through a lot to get to 3. Well, not a lot, but we need to have to get through 2. I just gotta figure out when I need to do 2. I'd say this is cutesy, just like the everything else.
Yeah, this game's fucking adorable.
Then we have to get to the Game Boy game, too. That is going to be a trip. I'd say that is definitely a balanced one.
Yeah. And so the later puzzles get rough, but overall it's very doable.
It is, of the games, it is the one that has the most balanced set, I think. 2 is also pretty balanced, although the ones in 2, it teeters a little bit more into the difficult direction, but not a whole lot. But then again, also there is the fact that the Japanese version of 2 is an entirely separate set of puzzles which are unique to that game. Which, if I remember correctly, those are a lot more difficult. Not to mention the pro levels that are in 2. Which I'm gonna have to do those, aren't I? Anyway, likes and dislikes.
I actually really like the art. It's really cute.
The art is really good. It only gets better as they go along, except for maybe the game.
I don't know if I want to say I dislike the music, but my problem with the music is it gets really monotonous after a while. Due to no fault of its own.
Oh, there's no worm emoji. What? I feel like I need something that's like an earworm charm, but there's no worm.
Is there an ear one?
Ear. Oh, there is an ear. Do that.
Yeah. Like, it's not a bad song. It's the problem is it's the only song.
Yes. It's also great because in 2 it uses Eggerland's, a remix of Eggerland's music, which is even shorter loop.
Oh god.
But yes.
Like otherwise it'd be a perfectly alright song, albeit short, but it loops it for the entire game.
If they stretched it out, it would be a lot better. But yes. Yeah, that's kind of, especially for 1, because like I've kind of mentioned, 2 is when they really does a graphical upgrade. Like the graphical upgrade from Eggerland to Adventure Lolo is pretty high, it's a pretty big gap. But once it gets to 2 and 3 is when the graphics get, like 3 looks fantastic for an NES game. There are things in 3 that, especially there's actually cutscenes in 3 which actually look really good. Also, for some reason in 2, whenever enemies go away, they explode in a mushroom cloud, which is weird. But yeah, that's 2. So I think that's it for Adventure Lolo. It's 30 years old now. We did it. We are now actually into the ones that are actually good. We're not into weird bug territory or weird expert level nonsense difficulty. So yeah. There's that. So yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. So, thank you all for watching. If you're watching this on Twitch, you can follow my YouTube channel by going to youtube.ltp.life, and there you can follow my all of the channel there, and I usually upload edited versions of the episodes on Sundays. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can go to my Twitch channel by going to twitch.tv/LoloThePuzzlo, and you can follow me there. Episodes are recorded live Fridays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and Saturdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to keep up to date with what I'm doing, you can follow me on Twitter at LoloThePuzzlo. And if you want to do the same, but also take part in various polls, like I think there will be one shortly for, actually, June's going to be a little bit weird, but yeah. Anyway, keep an eye on that for some chance to alter how the, episodes are going to go in the future. So, with that, thank you all for watching, and have a good night.
Still think you should have done weed games.